for us, everything's intentional, whether it's from a brand activation, whether it's from mood boarding to product, everything has a story that leads into the finished product. 2020, I trademarked the name LOWF because I knew it was something special, but I hadn't even started doing anything. I started with the name, then the brand ethos, and then I started putting together how that was all going to come to life. The mentality of not losing comes from my rugby background. If I'm going to give something a crack, I'm going to give it a good crack. And if I come down, I'm going to get up and keep going. Yeah, I still pinch myself. You know, it's crazy to have cross paths with the legendary Roots. Like, man, I think for me, it was just like, that was the most surrealist moment. Mark my words, the slowing down of things will become a luxury. At the core of us, we are all humans, and we operate in different signals, right? And it doesn't matter how far attached you are from who you are as a being. Once the noise settles, it's just you. It's just you.
Before we get into this episode, I just want to thank you for being here. I started this podcast to spark conversations that inspire, creatively, personally, and everything in between. So if you'd like to support that mission, the best way is to hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're watching or listening to this. That'll help other creative minds discover us and also ensures that you won't miss any of the incredible guests that we've got coming up. Because when this passion is shared, it grows exponentially. So thank you, and now let's get stuck into it. And so when you're in it, and like, do you have an idea of there being an expiration date for this? Like, because at some point, right?
Nah, man. Nah. You're just constantly, it's like a dogfight. You're constantly on the hamster wheel until you get off and realize, whether it's from doing rehab and you're doing rehab for however long, you start fighting some demons and you go, fuck, you know what? Fuck, maybe it's not for me.
Okay.
You know?
You start questioning.
You start questioning.
And then at some point, there's like the penny drops and you're like, I've got to get out of this.
Yeah.
And then LOWF came about. Like, did LOWF come straight after that, or like did it come before that?
It come after. So I hung up the boots. 2018 was my last year.
Yeah.
And then 2020, I trademarked the name LOWF because I knew it was something special.
Yeah.
But I hadn't even started doing anything.
So there was no idea that it was going to be a fashion, it was going to be an apparel brand?
No.
Just the name?
Just the name.
I like it.
Yeah. And then it came from the brand ethos. So I started with the name, then the brand ethos. And then I started putting together how that was all going to come to life.
Ah.
Yeah.
So did you have a creative bone in your body before?
Yeah. I feel like it's in my DNA. So my mum, she made all our clothes growing up.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. By hand. So she would freestyle cutting patterns out. You know, and for some crazy way, she made it fit so well.
Was it just out of practicality, or did she actually like give it some sort of?
Yeah, like she actually, like, because she was a seamstress by trade.
Oh, okay,
right?
all right.
So yeah. So sewing, knitting, that was her bread and butter.
Yeah.
You know, cutting patterns was her bread and butter. And so I saw that growing up.
Right.
But I didn't think that that would be my path later on in life.
Yeah, okay. So it was just stuff that was just like banking in the background.
Yeah,
you didn't even realize.
Without realizing.
Ah.
Yeah, almost like seeping into your subconscious.
Yeah, so LOWF, because I know that the name came about and it had to do with breaking bread, right? It's like just forming community, just finding opportunities to exchange dialogue, converse with people, and to learn from other people. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely.
So then when you came up with the name, what was the idea? Like, when you said that and you started iterating it and trying to discover what it was going to be, like, what was the initial steps? How did you develop? What was I suppose, the inspiration?
So what we were talking about earlier is rugby.
Yeah.
My background in playing rugby, I played rugby my whole life, right up until 2018. And a big part of that was chasing a ball out of the group of boys that you were going to go to war with.
Yeah.
And that whole mentality was like the wolf pack mentality.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you unscramble LOWF,
Yeah. Okay.
you're left with wolf.
Ah.
Yeah. So it's a nod to a past life of who I was moving into the new direction.
Ah.
So the breaking bread was both working in the wolf side of things where my rugby happened, moving in, and then bringing that forward into LOWF and doing the creative stuff.
That's interesting, man. That's really cool. So once you had that and you had the ethos behind it, and I think that's what a lot of people forget, especially the ones that eventually just end up deciding that they're going to create a fashion brand or at least an apparel brand.
Mm.
I don't know. I want to distinguish between the two because apparel it could just be slapping your logo on, let's say, an AS color.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when you're talking about fashion, it's having specific sort of cuts that it's trying to. It's more of an art form.
Mm-hmm.
So LOWF went to that, but I think that a lot of people, what they miss out on is that they decide that they want to create apparel before they develop the ethos and the brand and the reason behind they're doing it. So when you decided then this is going to be fashion, was it just like did you have an idea of what that process looked like?
Yeah, I think I did. I think it was more, I think I come to the realization that for the longest time, I couldn't find the brand that I was able to align with.
Yeah.
Or if I did find a brand, I didn't align with the brand, but they had a product that sat really well with me. Right? So I couldn't find one brand that could represent who I was. So I wanted to create something that brought the two together.
Yeah.
And that was having a brand story, something that I could really fuck with, but also creating things that was going to last beyond the seasons. So quality and fit were those things for me.
Mm.
And having a story around that was able to tell what the brand was, but then carrying that onto your garments and being able to represent someone, an individual.
So just the garments is actually just like a part of it. It's not even the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's just a representative of what the brand is. A lot of people that they decide that they want to do apparel, and I've had this conversation with other people before on this podcast, ones that are both fashion designers or just in the fashion industry. And then one of the talking points was that I like to try to better understand is on waste.
Mm-hmm.
And because now it's so accessible for people to develop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right. So like I was saying, it's just like you can even do print on demand, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can just try to cultivate some kind of brand and start printing and start selling. And depending on the process, you could be doing something in bulk and you could just have, 1,000 hoodies, 1,000 t-shirts, but then not even get to sell them.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden now you've probably got 990 just stockpiling. You don't know what to do with.
Sitting on stock.
Sitting in stock. And you've kind of gone the other way.
Mm-hmm.
You've developed the brand. Me as a brand guy, I see that as the best move. That is the smartest thing that you can do. You have to establish something that people can align with. And then because like the barriers to entry are so low, anyone thinks they can just jump in and then they can do it. I've had like a friend of mine hit me up and just said that they have a friend that has this idea that they want to start a clothing brand. And they asked like, can you help with developing the logo and the look and feel of it? And I was like, what's their approach? What's their strategy? How are they doing this? And it was exactly that. Oh, they're just going to go do a run of 50 t-shirts, see how it goes. I'm like, man, I'm telling you, you're not going to sell a single one. Yeah. You're not going to sell any of them, right? Not with that approach. So if you're not going to sell any, then you're going to have 50, t-shirts dead stock.
Mm-hmm.
So then I think what you're doing, your approach, you have an appreciation for longevity, for craftsmanship, and for actual style. So this is what I was saying about like the actual art form of creating garments. And I think that by playing the long game, you're able to get cut through because it is so much harder to do what you're doing. But even though it's harder, it's going to yield better results long term.
Long term.
And maybe even short term, because short term, you're already kind of like, it's probably going to be a shallower, slower incline, but at least there's going to be an incline. Whereas all the other ones, it'll just be flatline from the start.
Yeah.
And then somehow, unless you have backing, unless you're a brand that you're able to throw $250,000 into marketing and advertising, and who does?
Yeah.
Unless you have that and then just skyrocket, you got to acknowledge that this is going to be a slow grind. But that whole slow grind ties back into your ethos beautifully, especially with this latest drop, how you've kind of like incorporated that whole that Japanese craftsmanship as well, and you kind of brought it into the fold and you made it part of who you guys are.
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of brands do pop up and they don't last long because they haven't really thought about what it is that they want to do. And for us, everything's intentional. Whether it's from a brand activation, whether it's from mood boarding to product, everything has a story that leads into the finished product. For us, creating in small drops and going against the grain of fast fashion, it's just the way that we want to approach things.
Yeah.
We take so much from this beautiful world that we live in, and yet we don't give any of it back. That's almost like the best way to do that, because obviously we still need to wear clothes, produce X amount, give, let people enjoy it for what it is, without overconsumption.
How did you then bring in, because you've got the, what's it, Japandi. So a hybrid of Japanese ethos and Scandinavian. Because the last time when we caught up, we were talking about how Melbourne doesn't have anything that's necessarily iconically or uniquely Melbourne in terms of so many cultural aspects, man. Like if you want to look at it, fashions is one part, and I think that Melbourne borrows a lot of its influence from so many different pockets, especially US. So then because of that, it always feels almost like, immature is not the right word, but
I was actually kind of thinking about it, trying to think about what that is the other day. And it almost felt like it almost felt like a halfway house where people will drop in and out.
In Melbourne?
Oh yeah, just in Melbourne in general. Like that was the feeling. But yeah, I didn't quite land on what that could be.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like, I don't want to say that it's nothing, that it's not the place where things originate. Definitely is a lot of original content and craftsmanship and creativity that comes out of Melbourne. But a lot of that is influenced by not internally here in Melbourne, but externally from other areas and other cultures, which I guess is the beauty of Melbourne.
Yep.
But then it lacks some kind of identity. So when you borrow, and especially like with what you're doing, you're taking influence from other cultures, but it's not even just the fashion, because like I don't know much about Scandinavia. I believe that there'll be a lot of parallels with Scandinavian design and Japanese design, because it's not just about the aesthetic, right? It's incorporating a whole bunch of other cultural elements as well.
Elements, like minimalist, simplicity, and using raw materials. Those are three things that both Japan and Scandinavian areas all have in common.
Yeah.
And the way of life is pretty much somewhat the same. It's slow. It's everything has an intention. There's a story behind. There's a reason behind why they do certain things. And for me, that Japandi concept in the architectural realm, I saw that as like a way of introducing that into garments.
Yeah,
they're taking that concept and using it in a world where it's almost almost the same, but not.
Everything's considered though, right? Like with you guys, how you design stuff. And I've been to Japan a bunch of times. And what I love about it is you can take any part of Japanese culture and it makes sense within that whole realm of Japanese culture, right? Like how you have, something as simple to understand is like sushi, right? How it'll be delicately cut and you use chopsticks to pick it up delicately, right? So you don't pierce it. It's an art form in and of itself. But even just the way that it is presented to you, the way that you sit, the room that you're in, the ritual of, I guess, of the process of putting it together and the ritual of eating it, there's something that feeds back into the culture. Like you feel different when you're participating in that. You're walking down the streets and they're clean. The people have respect for their environment. They have respect for other people as well. There's this, I guess, this layered understanding. And so when you see the way that they create things, it makes sense within that space. But here in Melbourne, I feel as though that there's just so many things going on that it's hard to have any harmony in this. And like there was, what was it that you said that you had this guy that came up during your first pop-up last year and he was asking you, like he was just traveling through and he wanted something that was like iconically Melbourne and he just couldn't find anything.
Nah.
So what's your take on how fashion works in Melbourne in relation to culture?
I think, good question actually. I think for us now, fashion operates in different demographics of people.
Yeah, it's pretty splintered, isn't it?
Yeah. It's for us, we create our garments and curate them for the modern curator, person who's intentional about their way of life. It becomes a lifestyle. So the fashion sense is a representation of who they are and how they like to live their lives. That makes sense. And then there's there are other brands out there who has a skating aesthetic that that applies to younger generation or older guys who used to be skater boys. And I think they tie in so many different ways into the culture that exists within Melbourne. And I think it's a beautiful thing where, just like being multicultural, there's different layers to different fashion, to different aesthetics.
Yeah.
And it connects to different people depending on the life stage that person is in.
Life stage is a big one, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel as though that, like, I look at the kids these days, I say kids, but like the youth, so being early 20s.
Yep.
And they dress like how I dressed back then, right? The same kind of thing, how it would just sort of come back full circle again. So it is an age thing, but I do wonder, like, because I've got like right now I'm wearing Dickies pants and I'm only able to wear, and these are the ones that I wore 20 years ago.
Yeah, right.
The same ones, the same ones, because like they keep.
Yeah.
And I remember having a conversation with my brother who's 10 years younger than me. And, I was like, I always used to wear them like low, right? Skater kind of.
Yeah.
And he would like, and then as soon, like after, and then it became skinny jeans, he was looking at my D's pants like, they're never coming back. No way. I was like, dude, guarantee you they're coming back. 100%. I'm like, I'm not getting rid of these. They're coming back. And here I am. 20 years later.
Yeah, living proof.
Yeah, but you see it. Like even when I went over to America, I've been there a few times as well. Like Dickies pants were a staple. They never went away, man.
Yep.
And that's the thing. Like I feel as though there is like, in a lot of, I guess like subcultures, a lot of subcultures, there are absolute staples that just don't go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it depends on like it's representative of your culture, and they are so steadfast. And like, if you're from West Coast, you're West Coast, East Coast, you're East Coast, that kind of thing. And they're so like locked in to that identity that it's just a way of life, and they have certain staples that just don't go. Where, and this is the thing with Melbourne, I think that's one of the beauties. So not to knock on it, I don't think it's a bad thing that we do evolve and change and change rapidly. But I think that on the other side of that coin is that we don't have anything to hold on to. And then because we don't have anything to hold on to, we don't have that sense of identity. You know, and I think that there needs to be some kind of long form game with that, right? So, you know, with the how your clothes is not about, it's not necessarily about the external portrayal of what you're trying to, what you want other people to think of you, but it's just more how you feel of yourself. Are there any other? Actually, do you know? Have you checked in on what front office have been doing?
No, I haven't.
You really like that,
haven't.
man. You really like what front office is doing. So that Ken Sakata, he started off here in Melbourne. I think we talked about this briefly, right?
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
The whole Queensland Football Club. So he started that, but his focus has always been fashion first, rather than that's his brand essentially is based on developing something with integrity as well. And he was operating out of Melbourne. A lot of the garments were produced. He was getting materials from Japan,
right?
And he's since relocated all his operations to Japan now.
Oh wow!
Yeah, just to be. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I think that he's now operating out of Japan, but still has a lot of Australian ties. So like the wool that he uses is Australian wool.
Yeah.
And the denim and other fabrics from Japan. So
amazing.
I think that you should look into that and link up, because I think that, you know, there's a lot of parallels with how you guys have been operating in similar spaces, as in like you're driven by purpose and ethos, but the output is different. Yeah. So that'll be a good one for you to look into and study, because he's grown massively, and it's just built on a lot of integrity pretty much, you know, and he does really small limited drops. And every time he announces something, it's gone in minutes. Yeah. And then the rest of it's just back order. And, you know, he doesn't change the way he does things. Like for him, it's like, okay, the lead time is going to take this long. That's just what it is. So you're going to have to wait.
That's it. And you know, that's a beautiful thing about doing that, is because you control that. You know, you're not controlled by the fashion calendar.
That's true. Actually,
you know
yeah.
You know, much like what we do, we go against the grain in that sense. We're on our time.
Yeah,
we're not on the fashion calendar. It's not that's fast fashion. When you're trying to slow things down, and try and get, you know, when you do slow things down, you want to be able to bring people along the journey when you're doing that. Be able to buy into a story. What is this product about? Where's the inspiration from?
That's exactly what it is.
And it's, you know, and that, you know, like you said earlier, is that it becomes an art form. You know, whether it's someone painting and they have a story around it, the next person that's going to be standing in front of that painting is going to read it very differently to you, and then the next person after that. So it's up for interpretation.
I suppose if you are trying to create something that with longevity, then you also have to consider it being timeless. So you can't buy into what the trend is intentionally. You can't.
We've never been about the trends. For us, first and foremost, obviously, you know, you try and, you know, maneuver in some way to kind of fit within, but as a whole, you're just creating for what it is that you like, what it is that your target audience want, and you just give it in doses.
Yeah, and it does make sense when you're saying about like timelines, because one thing I was thinking about with fashion, when you create a range. All right, so firstly, like I want to compare a fashion designer or a clothing brand like yours to a visual artist. A visual artist can pick up a brush or whatever medium they align with. They can go create something, one piece, and then sell it, and then another piece, and then sell it, like the same day even. I wish it was that simple. It's not that.
Yeah.
That's a simplified version of it. But it can be done that way.
Yeah.
But with fashion, it's got to be often a collection because you need to have this to pair with that, and you got to do it in multiple sizes, and there's a much longer lead time than a day. Yeah.
Yep.
So there's a lot of proofing that needs to be done.
Yeah.
So it's a risk. It's a big risk. And then, you're with a lot of brands that what they want to do is try to like forecast, I want to create something now that is going to be fashionable then and hope I can swish it. So it's just like, in order to get into the fashion game, it's a much bigger investment if you're going to do it right.
Yep.
So when you guys first started, did you consider that?
No, at first we didn't consider that at all.
Okay.
It was more of just, okay, we have this brand, we have product, we have a story. It's made well, and it fits right. What the next part after that was thinking that the brand was just going to grow legs on the back of friends and family. We sooner found out later that wasn't the case. Right? So then we kind of, I guess this is the pivotal point for us, was understanding who our target market was. Because at the time, and naively thinking that it was just going to be the friends and family, it was totally wrong. So back to the drawing board, dove deep into understanding who our target market was, where they live, what they eat, what's their lifestyle, what age bracket, demographics, and everything. And once we kind of like really honed in on that and understood who our target market was, we were able to reap the rewards of growth from then on.
When you did that analysis, how closely did that customer profile align with you as a person?
I think it was pretty close to being who I was.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would you just not use you then?
I just wouldn't. No, because at the time I had no idea about business and how it all worked. And I never, because I was never one to put myself forward as a person. So I didn't even think to go, oh, actually, why don't I just market to myself? It didn't come natural to me at that point. So I kind of went the long way around. So yeah, no, look, we ended up doing that, and here we are.
So when I work with clients and helping them with strategy, with branding strategy, and then developing a branding identity, I've kind of like done a lot of backflips and somersaults because I work a bit in the startup space. They have, and for a lot of the times it's like problem solution, and sometimes they kind of do it in reverse, where they have a product, a solution, and then they try to retrofit it to a problem and make up a problem to see if it works. And then they try to develop who their target market is. And if it's not necessarily, it doesn't have to be the same as them, but where it's a little bit broken is having that level of empathy to really understand who the other person is. But then what I have later tried to advise people, use yourself as your target audience and align everything, absolutely everything, to you. Like all the messaging, speak to yourself. Other people will resonate for sure. Because what I'm trying to help people understand is like, it's easier for you to try to understand yourself, but then you also then have to take the approach of looking introspectively. And I think that a lot of people struggle with that, trying to look at themselves objectively and understand what your motivations are, what it is that you need. And like what you were saying, like it didn't come naturally to you to try to understand yourself, but then you kind of had to go on that journey and came back around. You're like, oh shit, I'm actually doing this for me.
Yeah.
And then it's worked out.
Yeah.
Did you find that like now that you've, I guess, unlocked that level of thinking, it's made the process just a lot easier because you're like, what would I want?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think understanding that has really kind of set the way forward. Understanding what's the next thing. You know, you have the forward plan, like we said earlier, and that's just off the back of understanding what it is that the customer wants. In my case, what do I want?
Yeah.
You know, but it really sets the tone for real. Knowing what color palettes to come up with next, what storyline to come up with next, what did people really resonate with the last drop? You know, things like that. Like for us, developing pants for the first time this season, and to see it go off the racks, I was like, bang. Like we got something.
Yeah.
And then the vests, like those two products, and we just elevated our product offering. And you know, not to knock the t-shirts and the hoodies and stuff like that, but when you go up and the next level of creating outerwear, people will recognize you for doing better and great things.
Provided that you are doing it better and greater.
Yeah.
And if that's part of the ethos. Would you bring in anything into the fold that, well, firstly, was there anything that surprised you at its success or failure? Any particular item or color range or anything, any detail that caught you off guard? In
this current drop that just
or even
finished?
In the current drop or just throughout the history?
I think when we first started, I think I had a line of colored hats, and it consisted of yellow, hot orange, and an olive, and
was it those 5-panel?
Yeah, 5-panel caps. And I was like, man, when I created them, I was like, in my heart, I was like, these are gonna go off like hotcakes. You know, and then you obviously create it, and then it doesn't do its thing, right? So for me, those were like, it was almost like testing the ego a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
You know, but that's all part of the creative process. Like you're gonna get some, you're gonna win some, you're gonna lose some.
Well, why do you think those ones didn't fly off the shelf?
I think I felt like it was probably a little bit ahead of its time.
Yeah, okay.
Because I wasn't seeing anything like it at the time, but these were colors that resonated with me. And sometimes when things resonate with you, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to resonate with everyone else. And that's fine, you know, because that's all part of it.
Yeah.
It's part of the learnings. But that was very early on in the process. But knowing what I know now.
Do you wear the hats?
I haven't worn them in a long time.
Okay.
I haven't worn them in a long time.
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe you didn't really want them. I like those hats.
Yeah.
I got a fat head. So having hats is a tough one for me to get, right?
Yeah. No, and I think it's as I've come to know, it's a tough one for a lot of people.
Okay, cool. So it's
not
me.
No. Since developing out those hats, we have obviously done another round of 5 panels with recycled polyester, which have now become people's favorites hats, who have probably never found a hat that could fit them, or have never been a hat wearer until they came across and started wearing our hats. Yeah, which is pretty crazy.
Yeah, well, it was really cool because when I had Sam Octagon here, he came in and he got that hat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. His wife got it for his birthday. So he hadn't heard of the brand, and I saw that hat. I'm like, "Hey, that's LOWF. That's cool." It was really awesome seeing it in the wild.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And it was like just like even through just like completely disparate entities, how I just caught up with you, and then a couple months later I saw that hat. I'm like, "Oh my god, this is actually," and it fitted him well.
Yeah.
I'm like, man,
it looked great.
It looked good. It looked good.
It looked really great.
Yeah, those 5-panel hats, I really like them. I've got a few Cieli hats, right, and they fit me well.
Yep.
But other brands, not so much. So you got to be I'm very particular because I've just got this really round, big head. So I got to try on yours, see if it goes, because I need something else to.
Yeah, I'll bring you a few. I'll send you a few.
And beanies as well, right? Like I bought a couple of beanies, and there were those fisherman beanies. Right?
Yeah.
I want to not cover my ears. So this is the level of thinking that I go to, right? Like when like it's the details, right? And it's not that I'm not just being fussy, right? So a beanie, I don't want to cover my ears because I get too hot. Then when I get too hot, I can't take the beanie off because my hair's all fucked and I'm committed to it now. So now I just got to deal with this beanie.
Yeah.
So I have it on my head, doesn't have to cover my ears, and it's just more comfortable. I can wear it a bit longer. So I bought 2 beanies from Amazon. So wasn't expecting quality. It was just like, okay, I just need something just to tie me over for a while. One of them fitted perfect. It was the same make, same brand. And the other one was half a centimeter longer.
All right.
Yeah. So now it sat in my ears and poked at my ears that little bit.
Ah, yeah.
I'm like, this is the thing. This is my fault. It's my fault for not just spending a little bit more and getting something that's made well. Yeah. So there is something to be said for craftsmanship, right? And then just spending that little bit better to get better quality materials and better make, for sure. But no, I just want to bring it back to using yourself as the prototype for the customer. And I found that, like, when doing this podcast, the last time I recorded, this artist, Jess Rye, I'm a fan of not just his work, but as a person. He's he's an outspoken individual. We had a discussion about him holding strong opinions, but he likes to frame it as having not necessarily a strong opinion, but a well-informed opinion. So, okay, cool. We can pull those together. He has strong, well-informed opinions. And what I found was that going through and doing this podcast, speaking with a lot of creative people, is that I've been in the mode of being more passive and learning. But then in the process of being more passive and learning, I've stopped, or at least I've felt as though that I have less conviction in what it is I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to create. So the podcast has almost felt quite reserved and quite passive, and hasn't really been the pillar of inspiration that I thought that I initially wanted to. Like when I started, I had more gusto, and then as things went along, it's kind of felt like it's been placated a little bit because I've just been learning rather than kind of just expressing. So I see the importance of kind of like towing that line, but having stronger conviction. And that's something that I know that you have, because you're objectively identifying the things that you want, and then you put it in your work and you share it, man. So even that, like, to be able to share something and to have it potentially being rejected, especially when it's so closely attached to you. Yeah, that's a tough thing to do. I don't want to use the word brave because that sounds a bit wanky, but it's more like it's quite vulnerable to think that you've invested so much of yourself and energy into this that it could potentially not work out at all.
Yep.
And it has, though.
Yeah.
So what's the, I guess, like, the process and how you guys move? Because if you're not at the mercy of I guess, like, the same calendar as fashion or fast fashion, what's your methodology of, like, because you've just recently done a drop, big success, right? You've ticked you managed to produce a range that LOWF was leading up to, and you got that out the door. So where do you go from here?
We move on to the next one. So before we even drop the next one, we're already on. So mentally, when we drop, my focus is already on the next drop.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we're always thinking a season ahead.
And what do your seasons look like? Are they following the same calendar as
mine? So we run in 3 month stints. Winter and summer.
Yeah. Okay.
We drop a little bit in between, and that's it. But it's just the way we operate it for right now. Being a lean operation, it's what's working for us at the minute.
So in between the times, in between the drops, are you doing anything to help with the creative inspiration? Are you taking things in from outside of your world?
Oh yeah, 100%, all the time, all the time. Like right now, my creative process is already humming. Like I'm looking at the way your black goes against the navy chair that you're sitting on.
Oh God, okay.
Yeah, so it's the mind is constantly already picking up, like taking that terracotta looking cushion over there, seeing how that already kind of works together like this. Picking color palettes, it's already kind of working. So it's like for me, and going back to like the seasonal drops and stuff like that. When we launch and we drop, I've already done the work to already think about what's coming up next.
Is there like a conscious decision to go against what you think would be on trend?
Not really. It's it's funny because I'm always planning a year in advance. Some of the colors that I've picked out, some of those colors end up being in the same season.
Oh, okay.
So it's almost like you're not, but you are.
So maybe like subconsciously you're in that. Yeah. You're locked in.
Yeah, and it's happened a few times. It's happened a few times, and it's almost like, I don't mean to piss in my own pocket, but it's almost like you got the finger on the pulse on it. Because it's just yeah. I guess when you're in it and you have a fair idea of what people kind of want.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, as a designer, what you create, you're creating for people in the future.
Yeah.
You're already looking ahead. You're going to create something that they're going to need, but they didn't even know about it.
What do I need?
You might need a hoodie, for example. You might need a brown hoodie. Yeah, you might want a brown hoodie with a green beanie.
I've been working on future history merch.
Oh yeah,
doing a couple of designs, and I've been mocking up on brown hoodie.
Oh no way!
Well, it's like I've got 3 shades of brown.
Yeah.
Going on. There's like a sand and one that's got a bit deeper and then more of a chocolate. And just trying to.
Yeah, all right.
Hey, it means that I've tapped into something good too.
Yeah,
hey, okay, all right.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, man. It's crazy. But you just got to feel it.
Yeah.
Like, oh man, like my creative process is like this. It's never just one flow,
Yeah.
As a big fan of someone that's influenced heavily in architecture and different landscapes and terrains around the world. I immerse myself in like, being like heavily influenced by brutalist, forms and structures and buildings and gardens and all those kind of things that create an environment.
Yep.
And then also, take Flinders Street Station, for example. I would go down and I would just sit there in the intersection and I would look at Flinders Street Station and kind of just immerse myself in the colors that it looks like. Looking at how the sun gives this different shade of color. Looking at what the energy is, what sounds you're hearing. All those things that bring in an idea of a creative environment for me in my head, and then taking that away and just going into a state of flow where then it's just like becomes like a journey. I'm in my book and just hammering it out almost like writing like a big novel about what it is that I just experienced.
That's awesome.
Then taking that and then going on and then start mood boarding, picking out images, photos, whatever it is, and then picking out colors from that to then tell a story and bring it all together.
Yeah, that's awesome.
No, sorry, I don't know how I just went down.
That's
there.
I like that. I like that connection, and it makes a lot of sense. Your environment, the space that you're in, right? Like the forms around you, the colors, and the even like the curvature of the furniture as opposed to sharp edges.
Yep.
All of that and how things align. You know, like the feng shui or just the way the relationship between this chair to that table to sitting in it. It all comes back to how it makes you feel in that space, right? Like what is it that space is trying to elicit in you? And fashion is that. It's exactly that, right? So it's you have the world that's coming in, your environment that's coming in, influencing how you feel. And the clothes is just, it's you just being wrapped up in that. And in many ways, like also exemplifying and then projecting that back out into that environment.
Exactly. 100%. And it's like, you know, when I do create, I create for the moments of people coming in for the first time into the shop, right? They pick up a garment that they like off the rack. They go into the changing room and they walk out. When they walk out and they see themselves and their chest is up and it's puffed out and they're feeling themselves, I'm like, bang,
Gotcha.
That is the moment. You know, you create for that. You know, for me, that's my grand final. I create for those little moments where people feel something. There's a sense that that this piece of clothing belongs to them.
Yeah.
They become part of it. And then when they get to the counter and they buy it, and then you tell them about the story, it becomes even more part of them.
Yeah, that makes sense. How many people that you have coming into your store are unfamiliar with the brand versus those that go in knowing? Yeah.
I think this season there was about 60% of people who came in for the first time.
Okay.
And it's every season changes. There's always someone coming across the brand for the first time. And you know, it's cool because it's like, it's almost like the brand, it's almost like, to me, as old as the brand gets, that feeling will always remain young. That makes sense. Because you're getting new people coming in and replicating that same energy, that same, you know, and it,
that same enthusiasm.
Yeah, it energizes me to keep creating. Because every season, different people coming in and they're reacting the exact same way that first ever person bought.
Yeah, that's got to be a nice feeling, man.
Yeah,
sharing your creation with someone. And I guess that comes back to that what I was asking about, you know, putting yourself into your work and having that vulnerability to do that. And it's not going to align with everyone, but then with those that do, like, oh, this is pretty awesome.
Yeah. You know, and you're, I'm not saying for myself, but just that as creatives in general, you know, the wins are going to outweigh the losses. And what I mean by that is, like, you know, when people are pumping up the tires, remember it. And when people don't care about it, just know that that's just all part of it.
Yeah, it is a perspective thing as well, right? Like it's just like, how much do you want to wear the shit that people throw at you? And you could it's just a learning opportunity. And sometimes, like a lot of the times, people are just out there to sling shit anyway.
Yeah.
We haven't even got back onto your whole encounter with the roots. Because I need to get a follow up with what's happened since then, man. If anything has anything happened since then?
No, we still keep tabs. Yeah,
oh my goodness,
it's crazy.
Give us just a quick overview and a follow up, because we caught up in January, and it was maybe a week or two after the Roots were in town, and it was just a chance encounter that, you know, you got to hang out with the legendary Roots crew.
Yeah, it really was, man. And like, yeah, I still pinch myself. You know, it's crazy to have cross paths with the legendary Roots. Like, man.
And it just happenstance. You were just out there.
Yeah, so it was the 31st of January. 31st of December, and Questlove was doing a DJ set at the Nightcap.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a group of us, and it all sold out. And we were hustling around for tickets. And we managed to get some tickets last minute. And then we got in, started hanging out, and then a few of the guys saw some of the Roots guys watching the gig from the VIP area. I think it was up the top there, in the back corner. And then they got chatting with him, and then most of us were wearing LOWF. And then they started chatting, and then one of the guys came up to me and goes, "Hey, I think they want to hang out with. They want to ask you a few questions about the brand. They said they really love it." Like, all right. So anyway, we go out to the VIP, go out to the VIP area, and man, we just clicked. You know, it was just like you had these guys who, you know, you see all over YouTube, all over, you know, America's television, whatever it is, well renowned for what they do as a band. It's amazing. And they're in front of you. And they are asking you about what you do.
That's cool.
And then you tell them about what the brand's about. And then for them to resonate with it, I think for me, it was just like, that was the most surrealist moment. And then to have them repeat it back and say, "Let's break bread." Like that. I mean,
you're
I didn't even,
now.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like there's a cool synergy where it's like, you know, and I tell people all the time, it's like, you know, it's almost like a moment of like real recognize real.
Mm-hmm.
And for someone of their stature and their profile, then they're not just gonna, you know, what is that? They're not just gonna say that to anyone or any brand, or
I don't think so.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, obviously I've had a few drinks and stuff like that, but yeah, it was just so surreal. To connect that way. And then got to the end of the night, towards the back end of the night, we were going to leave. They were like, "Yo, we'd really love to wear some of your pieces tomorrow."
Wild.
Yeah. So then we exchanged numbers and stuff. And then we leave. And then I'm just like, all right, well, we better get back. We're going to get back to the warehouse and pick up some stuff and come back in.
New Year's Eve.
Yeah, New Year's Eve. While everyone's having a great time and, you know, bringing the new year, I'm like, all right, I need to get home. I need to get fixed up.
Get sober up quick.
And just get some gears to pack ready for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Man, I woke up the next day. I was hungover. I was like, man, how am I going to do this? So we go down to the factory, wrap up all the gear, and then we head off to the gig at Sydney Maya. Go backstage, and you know, I think this is where it became really real for me. You know, being who they are, and for them to open space for us to come and show them the range and be able to sit and talk them through the brand was the most surrealist moment of my life.
I bet.
And for them to take the time and actually sit down and listen and hear about what it is that we did and show them what the garments were, it was really cool. It was a really cool moment. And, you know, and to this day, we still keep in contact because, you know, if I was to look back on all the other collaborations and stuff like that, it's never just a one-off. It's not transactional. Everything is intentional, whether it's our alignments, whether it's the people that we hang out with, whether it's the people that we work with. It's nothing's ever transactional. And I think if I was to bring all of the people that we've had on for our Breaking Bread series, they would all have something in common. And I they will all get along.
Yeah. The roots have been around for so long. They have seen the best of the best. They've been amongst, in terms of so many things, man. Like in creative output, they've seen it all. They've been around, rubbed shoulders with the upper echelon of creative people, all of it.
Yep.
They would have been approached by a whole bunch of different brands to collaborate. You name it, they would have reached out to the roots for sure.
Yep.
So I think they have a good radar of, you know, when you say real, recognize real, you know, they have a good sense of how that operates and, you know, how people, they've got a good sense of how people operate. They've got a good sense of integrity and purposefulness in the work that we do and what drives what it is that we do. But it just felt like happenstance that maybe there was something or quality about it when they noticed you and your crew and like it piqued their interest. But it must have just been more than just piquing their interest, because they could have just looked at me like, hey, that looks pretty cool, and left it at that.
Left it at that, yeah.
Yeah. The fact that just to call you in and put you on level pegging with them and not to pump up their tires over yours, is just that they've been around a long time.
Oh,
they've been
absolutely.
around, right? You know, and then it's not a coincidence they're called the legendary Roots Crew either, right? They earned that title. So, you know, that to take the time to want to learn about your story and to learn about LOWF means that they saw something in that, man. Did you get a sense of imposter syndrome with all that, or did you feel as though that it did, or did it feel right?
Not really. And I, you know, like I said, they created the space for us to just be. They weren't. How do I say this? They weren't putting us in the space and putting a magnifying glass on us, if you know what I mean. It was really authentic.
It was not interrogation.
Yeah, it wasn't interrogation. You know what I mean? It was like conversation. It was just like flowing. You know, and there was no, there's no sense of ego. There was none of that.
Yeah, that's something that I've been kind of like trying to figure out as well. Like being amongst and chatting with people that I highly respect and that have done some great things, like yourself. That, you know, you've taken opportunities, you've created opportunities before you've taken the opportunities. You've taken a leap of faith, especially coming from a sporting background and not having much knowledge of how this should operate. You just went into it. There've been so many other people that have sat in that chair that have similar kind of story, right? Where they just back themselves. And I look up to these people. I have so much respect and admiration for people that have done what you do. And that was actually one of the reasons why this podcast started, was just to learn from people that did what I didn't do. So I've had, for the longest while, always a sense of, not imposter syndrome. That's not the role. I think a sense of degree of inferiority. It's like, these guys are doing something that I wasn't able to do. And so then it always felt like that I was not less than, but a degree of inadequacy. But the more I do it, the more comfortable I've felt, where it's like, okay, whatever path and whatever journey we have gone on, we're both sitting here and having the same conversation. We're both here right now. So it's almost felt like, well, any time when you're in a position that you feel as though that you don't necessarily deserve to be in, I think it's just that recognition is like, no, well, I am here, you know, and this is just how things turned out. If I wasn't meant to be here, then I probably wouldn't be here.
Yep.
So what's the roll-on effect from that? Not just necessarily in that relationship that you form, that bond, but how has that shaped the way that you conduct yourself within the space of your work, or how has that influenced the work now?
I think definitely a lot more authority, I guess, over what I do. I mean, Yeah, to be recognized by that group of men who do such a great job at what they do, at the highest level possible,
Mm.
um, is like, I'm not one to be chasing like validation or anything like that, right? But in this space, you can get carried away and trying to seek that validation
Mhm.
from the next person or the next person after that. So I try to stay real authentic to who I am first and foremost, and everything kind of sits around that, if that makes sense. So I think when being authentic to myself, I find myself still standing as who I am.
Mhm.
Or when I first walked in there or into the room or whatever conversation that I walk into, because I feel like it's really important to not lose sight of who we are as a people first, understanding who we are first and foremost in here, because that's ultimately going to bleed externally, and that's, and that you stand out. People, you're going to attract those people who want to be around you. You know.
I like that idea of having more authority.
Mm.
I think that's important to have stronger conviction in what it is that you do, and to not second guess yourself. And that's a good point, because I think a lot of the second guessing isn't necessarily internal, but it's external. It's like, what would people think if I did this? It's like,
Yeah.
why do you give a fuck what people think if you did that?
Exactly. Because if you did listen to those people and you cared about what those people think, you're going to be on a merry-go-round. You're not going to know when to get off,
Mm.
because you're constantly trying to upkeep what they think. Before you know it, you're going to lose yourself, especially in the creative game. Like right now, it's like there's a lot of creatives out there, and a lot of people doing their thing who are trying to get their names on different things. So it's like, well, if you just stay in your lane, do your thing, head down, grind away, people will notice.
Yeah. And I think that there's also the way that everything outside of you, like, when you're talking about just being authentic to yourself, when you identify what that is,
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of people that, this is actually going back to the branding thing, where people haven't really identified that about themselves yet, and not just seek the external validation, but let's just say in terms of the fashion world, chasing that quick win, right? And then when you have that quick win, I think that what our culture, or at least just the Western culture, what it seems to be, a lot of the actions that we take are hinging on wanting quick and immediate success, and having that something to go viral. So you look at a lot of the algorithms that come up, that they say that, do you want to grow this much in this much time? Like, why is that the driver? Like, why do we want to see such immediacy? Why not see, can you grow this much in this much time? Like, why not have that approach to it, where there's more sincerity in that growth? And then it plays back into your strengths, because a lot of the people that are looking for the quick gains, they're just dropping off, right? So whatever it is that you're doing, there's that everlasting appeal to it, and everything is just fallen by the wayside, and there's no integrity in that.
Nah.
Yeah, and I think that that's one of the things that's lacking in the way that we operate culturally, is being able to create something long term. And that's culture, right?
Yep.
Culture is this process of growth and evolution over a long period of time. But everything just seems to be so quick and fast paced, and having to evolve without just taking stock for a minute and just letting things just evolve as they should.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like that approach. I do like that, what it is that you guys are working on. And then that also then brings me back to like what I was saying about like sitting in the chair and listening, where I feel as though one of the things that's been lacking is that sense of authority. So this was the catalyst for creating the range of merch. Now I want to pick your brain on this because I generally don't like the idea of how merch is being created, as in slapping a logo on and just trying to flog it as wares, right? Like there has to be some essence behind it. So for any budding, up and coming, call it even in fashion design, or someone that wants to start some range of apparel, what is some sound advice that you think they should be following?
Don't go into it thinking that you're going to get a quick buck, first and foremost. Because you better strap in if that's the case.
Okay.
I think understanding what it is that you want to do with it, understanding how far you want to take it. I think there are a lot of things that you got to ask yourself before stepping into it, and seeing if that's the right thing for you. Because it's, at the start of doing LOWF, I just thought creative. But then as you start to, get to understand how a business works, there's a lot more that goes on in the background than just designing and coming up with different colors and stuff like that. So I think anyone stepping into doing it and doing it right, be prepared. Because there's a lot of, and I've seen it all over the internet and stuff like that, like where people are like giving you this false idea that starting a brand is great, it's cool, and it is cool. It's cool, don't get me wrong. But there are other stuff and other areas that they gloss over, that you're gonna learn to find out the hard way. So just be ready.
Because what are you guys now? You're in your seventh year?
We're in year 5.
Year 5?
Yeah, for year 5.
Oh God.
Yeah.
It's been quick.
Yeah, it feels like year 10 though.
Oh damn, man! That's actually been that's been a lot quicker of growth than I would have expected, and I think that just speaks to a lot of making the right moves.
Yep.
It hasn't always been an upwards trajectory with growth.
No.
And what was some of the pitfalls or some of the things you look back like, oof, other than the hats and the colors?
Yeah. Jeez. I think it was during that process that we were talking about earlier. Because I'm thinking about that friends and family was going to be the success of LOWF. We didn't clock that to like in the year 1, which is a long time to clock that. And we were just thinking about, why is this not moving? Like,
and then you exhaust that quick, man, because even friends of me are like, oh God.
Man, like, it's deflating because you have numbers that you want to reach, you have a momentum, a feel of momentum that you want to create with it. And when it doesn't go there, it's like, man, what are we doing then? Because we had spent the whole year prior to that trying to build the brand, what the brand was, all that before we launched. So yeah, when that happened, I was like, man, I was almost like, man, do I keep going with this or not? So then when we did decide to go back to the drawing board, and thank God we did, we were able to continue. And since then, we've just been gradually building.
So that's something to be said about when you hit plateaus, right? Like, because that's when you could just jump ship.
Yeah.
You could just use that opportunity to reevaluate.
Yep. Yeah, man. And I feel like a lot of brands over the years I've seen come up and then just fade off and drop off. I think they go through that phase because it sounds like a great idea at the time, and when you get the first initial hit, right, and then it fades off, and when it fades, man, you better hope you got some good landing.
So you went into this knowing this?
I went into it, half knowing, and I think the mentality of not losing comes from my rugby background.
Yeah.
So it's like, whatever I want to, if I'm going to give something a crack, I want to give it a good crack. And if I come down, I'm going to get up and keep going. Because I think at that point in time, I had put just as much energy into my playing days into this. Obviously different. You weren't in the gym, but you were in the creative studio. So for me, it was like, you just got to get up and keep going. And constantly like the reassessing as you go.
You know, when you were saying about when you plateau and using that opportunity just to assess what it is, that was the catalyst for me wanting to then, for the merch, was meant to exemplify a bit of this, going back to the ethos, right? And I guess like a bit of the value system and the approach that I brought into the fold along the way, of having to have stronger convictions in your belief system. But not just that, but like when you're creating something, it's a matter of then when you're creating something, it's something that has never existed before. And I think that is something that is underestimated with creatives, that there is not enough of an acknowledgement that what you're doing is uniquely you, and it's something that you don't necessarily need to seek permission for. When we're going out and asking whether or not this is, you know, like that whole indecisiveness and not trusting your instincts, and you're like, should I do this? What would people think? Well, people are only going to be able to give you their assessment based on through their lens, and they're not going to see things as you see them. And that's kind of why we create, because we see things how we see, and we don't need or not seeking any permission to go forth. That has been an ingredient that has been lacking in everything that I'm doing. So that's how the merch part came. It's like, I need to have an outlet to help bolster that facet of future history. And there's something to be said for having a creative outlet. And like with yours, I think that LOWF just so happens to be, you have this, and you said it perfectly, right? You developed the brand, and then it naturally moved into fashion, where mine was just sitting and conversing, and I just needed to have something else to express the things that I'm learning along the way, and just have something that I can outwardly express it. And I'm wondering, like, you know, with creative people and having different opportunities of output, I suppose. With yours, could it have gone any other way other than fashion? Because I can tell just sitting across from you, you're a creative thinker. You're a deep thinker. You lean on the philosophy of things, and it just so happens where you've gone is towards fashion. Yeah. Could it have gone any other direction?
No, I don't think so. I think I was kind of beaming towards fashion. Yeah, it was definitely going towards fashion.
Always fashion.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
Yeah, it was always going to be fashion, because what I wanted was to create. Oh, that's the other one too. So I saw a gap for LOWF, and it was that luxury fashion and community, and there was a big separation between the two. This here was transactional. You're buying it, that's it. There's nothing else. You have a label attached to something and your price tag. That was it. There was no community around that. So what I wanted to do was create quality pieces with a community around it.
And what's the purpose of that community?
That was to be able to people to go, not be looked down upon from the luxury space, but to be able to see equal.
So having a collective group of people, and then within that community, it's almost forming its own kind of culture.
Yeah. So it's like it's people who appreciate quality design, quality materials. And they're gonna get that, and they're gonna be part of a community that's doing something special.
That respects that.
Yeah. And at the core of it all is the breaking bread, and and you look at every individual. There's something that really grounds us, and that's the people connection.
Yeah.
That's the sense of being able to just vibe with someone, be on the same frequency, and be in a room where everyone's on the same page. We're all talking about the same things, and bringing fresh ideas to the table.
Man, that ties into like a lot of conversations I've had have been around AI. And I feel as though that yours is going to be pretty far removed from everything that's going on with AI, because you are about that interaction with people. And I do wonder now, it's just come to mind, like with your clothing and how it is not intentionally going against the grain, but just, I suppose, just happenstance, just the ethos isn't aligning with the way that everything is developing. I wondered like whether or not anything like AI would have any implications on fashion. Because I know that because the way that you guys are creating, and like you were saying about just, there is an appreciation for everything that is the antithesis of that it could probably just work well in your favor, the way, the direction that we are moving as a community, as a culture, that we do want to gravitate more back to something that is slower and that has a different kind of fortitude to creation, right? So like, where there's efficiency isn't something that is necessarily brought into the fold. Yours is like, it's going to take as long as it needs to take. And for us to achieve the standard that we want, it is going to appeal to a certain group of people that aren't in a hurry, that appreciate that quality of care, and bring that into the fold, not just in the garments, but bring that into the fold of how they curate their life. And it's almost looking at how technology has transformed the way we engage with a lot of things. Records, as in vinyls, they are outselling CDs. I mean, who's buying CDs?
Yeah.
But the fact that no one's buying CDs, but people are buying records, they kind of want to have something that's tangible.
Yeah.
They want to listen to something that they don't necessarily skip, right? They just want to sit back and enjoy it. And it's not like that you can just carry it around with you.
Yeah.
So there is this appreciation for, I want to sit down, I want to enjoy my space and bring this acoustics into my environment and not and just appreciate it and just to absorb that. So there's all of this that's happening outside of the world of fashion, yet the fashion world is moving at the pace of what technology is, 100%. But then people want the antithesis of that.
Mark my words, the slowing down of things will become a luxury.
Yeah.
It will become a luxury.
It's true. It's true. It is going to be a luxury. It's going to be something that we're just going to want and just crave. Because
we go back to it again. It's like at the core of us, we are all humans, and we operate in different signals, right? And it doesn't matter how far attached you are from who you are as a being. Once the noise settles, it's just you. It's just you.
Yeah, man. So you just got to get comfortable with that.
Yeah, man.
That's a great note to leave this on. Sioné, dude, thanks for jumping on, man. This has been a long time coming. I think we probably connected almost a year ago. Yeah. And just through life and happenstance, we haven't been able to align this. But man, I'm thrilled to have had this conversation, to learn a good bit more about you and what you do. I'm excited to see what comes next with LOWF. I'm all about it, man. Like, I love everything, all the considerations that you put into it. I think it is, I don't even want to call it a brand because that's almost diminishing the work that you're putting into and giving it too much of a commercial component. I think that the passion is there. Like it's,
Appreciate it.
yeah, the passion is there. The integrity is there. It's right there at the forefront. It's nothing that goes missing. It's all within the fiber of what you do, man. So I appreciate what you do, and I appreciate you jumping on and sharing with us, man.
Thank you so much for having me, man. You keep doing your thing, man. It's great to see podcasts like yours, operating on this side of the world. Like I said to you when I first met you, it's like you're doing some things that operate on the other side of the world. That's really cool to be seen here. So,
Thanks, man. We'll just fucking keep on doing our thing.
yeah, exactly, man. Thank you.